What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and this is Table Talks episode 39, where we discuss a bunch of stuff while watching a bunch of previous pulling that we've done.
Yeah, so this was even more pulling from our last Saturday's practice back in the Table Monkeys HQ.
This was the last one before the BAL is coming up, so we had to get our pulls in.
Yes.
This was like a good 5-hour practice.
Yeah, it was,
or
yeah.
at least 4. It was a crazy long practice, so lots of footage.
Yeah, we didn't pull this weekend. A lot of us were taking the week off, wrestling coming in super fresh for Saturday. So.
Yeah, trying to come in strong.
Yeah.
Strunk.
But we just got finished watching the East versus West arm wrestling event in Istanbul.
And lots to talk about.
We got crushed, man. The West got destroyed.
West unfortunately did get destroyed.
And we can't even claim Sarah Backman as our own. I mean, we can a little bit,
Sort of. She does train in the West now,
Yeah.
but she was obviously brought up in the East. So, not a good showing for the West. Definitely some things that people could have done differently that might have made a difference. And I don't know how much the rules and the league plays into it, but we are going to talk about the rules in the league because we think it plays more into the viewing pleasure than the actual pulling difficulty.
I mean, maybe it played a little bit of a factor just because no one from the West really competes in those roles too often except Herman.
Yeah.
I know Tony Katowski said he didn't compete in WAF style tournaments since 2005. Matt Mask, obviously, it's been a while since he did that.
But Matt said he was going to be comfortable with it, which again, I don't know how much the rules played a factor into the winning, but vice versa, the other sort of side of the coin of what you're just saying there is that all the guys from the East don't do very good against the guys from the West when they get into the WAL.
Sorry, just pause for a second. Okay. Yep. Yeah, like people were complaining about, mentioning about Hermes, like if Hermes had known the rule set better in WL, he would have done better. Yeah. That played a huge factor in why Hermes lost, et cetera. So,
yeah, I mean, one thing we can say is that Matt hasn't, or at least so far, he hasn't come out making any of those excuses, which is what Hermes was doing the first time. Yeah. And I agree, I don't think he will either. I think he did say at some point right after Hermes felt super strong and he was super good. And Devin's review was, I think, very accurate in the sense that it looks like in that match, it's literally just a matter of who gets what they want.
Yep.
And then it's a flash either way.
That's exactly what we were expecting, and everyone was expecting too. Like it's just a little bit of hand movement either way, and it's Flash City for either puller. Obviously,
so with that being said, I think that's how the rules, maybe the leagues could play a little bit of a factor there, where Matt is much more comfortable with close your thumbs, close your hands, and Hermes is much more comfortable with the ref closing your hands.
Yep. I do think the close your thumbs, close your hands allows some more explosiveness because you can't load as much in the setup.
Yep.
And
I think
burn
it's
a lot of your
fair
hand
too,
out.
and I think it's more fair because it's also the close your thumbs, close your hands. If there's any loading or anything that happens in that split second, that's part of the fight. Like it's not you taking advantage of me or me taking advantage of you. It's that moment where we're both supposed to be fighting, and it's who wins that fight. Where when the ref closes your hand, like if the ref closes your hand first, which it looks like what Hermes likes to do, is when he gets his hand closed, he carves his pinky in a bit and gets that up carve that he wants, which is what Matt told us when he was here. He's like, he just needs this little bit of that, and if he gets that, all of a sudden he's stupid strong. But if you can keep him from getting that, then he's not so strong.
Yep.
And it looked like when Hermes got his hand closed first, he was really able to get that, and then Matt losing a round on fouls, obviously upsetting. I really hate seeing that. I know that we got to stick to the rules, but I feel like there needs to be some leniency there.
I understand, but with that, it was so blatant. I kind of just can't forgive him for that. Like,
and Devin said after that he feels like maybe Matt kind of got carried away forgetting that he was going to get a foul, like thinking he was going to get a warning for the first one, which is possible. And I think it was a situation where, like we said, Hermes got his hand closed first. He got the carve that he wanted, so Matt was like, well, I'm not going to start and lose the round, so I might as well start early and get this ref script set again. And then on the second one, it was just maybe nerves that he jumped early. I agree, he did jump early. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been fouled. It just does suck to lose a round on fouls.
Yes.
But that was Matt's fault. It wasn't the ref's fault or the setups or anything. And I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate because I feel like if Matt got that round out of the way, and then once he got into it, I feel like they were going to go back and forth, which would have been nice to see. But it was definitely domination on Hermes' part.
Hermes definitely leveled up significantly.
Yeah.
I think his arm was just levels and levels ahead of Matt. It was really the hand that was somewhat close. But if Army's got any bit of carve or cup in his hand, it was game over.
Matt didn't have enough arm to deal with.
Not even close
with that. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So the event as a whole was it was awesome that Engen put on these matches. Super grateful for that.
Yeah.
The event was just a little bit, from a Western perspective, less entertaining than it could have been, just because of like how long it was drawn out. After the Hermes and Matt Mass match, there was a lot of speeches all in Turkish that obviously we couldn't understand. And that was meant for the TV production that they were going to put on later, so not really necessary for the live stream viewers to watch. And I think it just made it a little bit more boring than it
really needed to be. Which again, maybe Engen needed to do that in order to get the event to happen altogether, which is understandable. But aside from like the idea that it was kind of a mini political rally or whatever, just the way that the European events are run are so drawn out in comparison to the way they're run in the West, and I really think there needs to be like some sort of meeting in the middle, you know, like the PR event was run really well, especially considering it was their first one ever. But like just the efficiency of matches. I know the first one, again, with Ray, that one was kind of confusing and it went long and it was like, that one didn't make sense.
But it was still super exciting no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. It was still great to watch, and there wasn't a ton of downtime in between the pulling.
No.
Where with the European thing, it's like they don't set the strap right, and all of a sudden they take the whole strap off and let the guys go get chalk and walk around for
even
30
mid-match,
seconds.
like a restart happens, and they take the strap off
and let them walk around, and then what ends up happening is one competitor or the other is going to end up taking an extra 15 seconds, 20 seconds, getting chalk, making sure they get a little bit, of blood out of their arm and all that kind of stuff. And
they were even going back to their corner, man, and getting rubbed down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not even between rounds. It's literally like, it should be stay in the strap, retighten it, set your arms, and
because endurance is a factor that people train for, right? So if you're taking that advantage away from someone who is an endurance puller.
And besides the pulling, now we're talking about the spectator side of it.
Right.
It is just obnoxious as shit to watch.
Yeah.
You're like, it's already obnoxious to watch people put the strap on. Now to watch them do it like 3 times in a row with no pulling in between for what seems, if you're not an experienced puller, like no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's just inefficient. And the point is that arm wrestling is growing. It's growing exponentially fast. The audience is getting huge, and the point is that the people that are in the audience, like a lot of them don't really get the sport yet. They're not involved in the sport yet. So you need to make it watchable. You need to make it enjoyable. You also need to make it educational, and I understand that. But I feel like the European style of event is going to get left in the dust over the next couple of years as arm wrestling grows, because the point is that it's going to go where the money is, and it's going to go where the viewers are.
Right. And it's like the East is still thinking that they're trying to get into the Olympics one day, so they're trying to keep their rule set super strict and stringent, so it's more respected by the Olympic Committee. But we all know that's never going to happen because of various
and a lot of
factors.
Pullers don't even want that to happen.
Of course, I don't think it's a good idea.
Would the UFC be better if the UFC was in the Olympics? No, it would be. It would ruin the sport, and that's what would happen with arm wrestling too. So I think it's. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a bias I have. I feel like it's some sort of pretentiousness that they have about it, where they want to like claim to be the best, so therefore they're going to stick to all those little stingy rules and strict things that they do in the exact ways they do it, because that is what they feel makes them better. But again, from a marketing standpoint and from reality, I just don't think it's going to last the test of time once the sport really starts to grow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the PR event, their first event, had the biggest cash payout of all time. It was their first event, and it was super enjoyable to watch. Got tons of views. I think that's the way to go for
it. Looked like it was way less production to put on. They rented a small convention hall. They didn't have to rent a huge auditorium. They obviously didn't have to pay for as many cameras and stuff if they had TV people there and everything. Like the Turkish production was obviously like way overdone with a whole bunch of other stuff that had nothing to do with improving the arm wrestling event. And the point I think that we're trying to make is that isn't gonna. I don't think that's gonna have a lasting place in the.
They should have just done that before the event for the TV audience, and then started the live stream right after that, and then just got the matches away, bing bang boom, like all in a row. with better commentary.
Yeah.
I'm glad Ray was there talking, but we could not hear him.
Oh my god,
very well. And then there was also a Turkish announcer, I believe,
like right near him, and he kept saying, "I'm trying to get away from him. I'm trying to get away from him." It was like the guy was chasing him around. Yeah. There were obviously a lot of things like that made it. Like the point that we're trying to make is it's not just arm wrestlers watching arm wrestling anymore. So the entire thing has to be good. It can't just be that I got to see these two guys pull that I really wanted to see pull, and the pulling was fun.
Right, and
that'll work for diehards. But
all respect to Engen, love him, and he loves the arm wrestling community, but I would say he doesn't respect the opinions of people who aren't arm wrestlers.
Yeah, which again is not going to have longevity. It's good, like go and ride your high horse all you want, but the point is that you're going to get left in the dust in a few years as the sport grows. Like once it's big enough that there's serious money there and there's people that you think, oh, that guy doesn't deserve it, that I should be, or whoever's been around forever, those guys should be getting this payout and this money and this respect and stuff. And it's like, well, unfortunately, because the sport grew so fast, if you guys don't keep up with it, you're gonna get left behind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but they proved they are better arm wrestlers, at least those guys.
Those guys today, they did show up in arm wrestling. And this, again, we're talking about the spectator side of the sport right now.
Yes.
We're talking about the growth of the sport. We're talking about introducing it to people that don't arm wrestle.
The growth is going to come from people who don't arm wrestle currently. You've already hooked the people that arm wrestle. We already love the sport. We're in it for life.
Exactly.
We got to get other people.
We will watch a shitty political rally for 4 hours to see 30 minutes of good pulling.
Yes.
Like, no question. That's we all did it, and that's fine. But the point is that any sport, once it has spectators, it's a bunch of people that don't play the sport that watch the sport because they wish they could play it, and they appreciate the sport for all these other reasons, and they're who end up paying the athletes. It's their support that pays the athletes. So if you want arm wrestlers to actually be able to arm wrestle for a living and rely on their sport as their means of survival, then we need a shitload of people that don't arm wrestle to watch the sport. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Promoters need money.
Yeah.
They need support. They need to know how many people are going to watch.
Yeah.
How many people are going to donate, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Marketing is important. There's just no way around it, right? So,
WL gets that right.
Yeah, they got it right, and maybe they take it a little too far. Maybe there's somewhere in the middle, like
there's got to be. The PR was kind of like
PR was kind of in the middle, yeah. And again, it was their first event. I think it's only going to get smoother. I think they're running another one in November, right? Is that what they said?
I don't know the date, but I know they did talk about another.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. There's going to be.
And Engen is talking about running another event as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's talking about huge matches there, and I mean, just to bring up that post again, just since we were just talking about it, he goes, if I were to run a super professional event, I think that's where it's like, because your event comes across as a business suit and professional, does not make it better.
Yeah.
It does not make it more exciting to watch or a better display of arm wrestling. That's that get that out of your head. You know what I mean? Like, that's not. And if it's what we just watched, I definitely don't want to see the matches that he named happening at that event. It's going to take the excitement right out of the matches.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to deflate them completely.
Imagine seeing Devin and Levon end on fouls.
Yeah, exactly. And it would with Devin and those refs for sure. They'd find a way.
Yeah.
But the point is, I want Engen to support, to do it, and obviously we're all about supporting arm wrestling, but make it about the arm wrestling, not about the event. It's not about, I ran this super professional event that was with all these really proper people and refs and executives and da-da-da. That's fucking meaningless. Nobody gives a shit about that. Run an event that's fun to watch, that's efficient, that runs on time, and the people can actually get out of there at a reasonable fucking hour and enjoy themselves the rest of life that there is. Matt was talking about, they were pulling tournament polls through to midnight.
Yeah.
They didn't even start after pulling till into midnight, you know? And it's I'm sorry, it's just going to be a thing of the past, you know? It really is. Especially, again, if you want to make money off of it, you're going to have to get way more people there that don't want to arm wrestle, that want to watch arm wrestling, than people that want to arm wrestle. And that's going to take thinking about people that don't want to arm wrestle. Unfortunately.
Totally agree.
But yeah, again, great event.
Obviously super grateful he put it on.
Yeah.
They've got to see these matches. Now we know a little bit more about how everyone stands in the world.
Yeah. I think we want to talk about Todd a bit, eh? That was one of the matches that just stood out to us where it was God damn.
Fuck. He could have been our shining light for the West, for North America.
Yeah. Well, and even Herman was saying that, Herman blamed the ref a bit and was saying that it had to do with the setup and that he was getting fucked on his thumb so bad that if he had got a fair setup, he felt that he was totally comparable to the guy he pulled on right arm, which sounds kind of ridiculous because he looked like he was completely outmatched.
Yeah.
And the guy was way bigger than him. Like, they shouldn't have been pulling together anyway.
No, he was like 40 to 50 pounds bigger.
Yeah, it was a bad setup.
Obviously, I mean, I know Homer's been pulling since he was a kid, and this guy doesn't have as much experience as him, but he's been pulling at the world level for at least 4 years.
Yeah, which is what Herman said after he found out afterwards. He's like, oh, so experience is, maybe I have a slight edge, but it's basically relatively even, and he's way bigger than me.
Yeah.
Maybe our strength is somewhat even, but he should be way stronger than me.
Yeah, he made, in his live stream, he was talking about how FA never took a fair grip. He was always riding high in his thumb, and he was trying to convince the refs to
do something
about it, and they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is he said after that if I had got that, if that had been corrected, I would have been right there with him. Like, I was definitely strong enough to make my technique matter. With the Hutchins match, it was. Sorry,
just disappointing. I'm just just disappointed. Like, we've all seen it. We saw the first 2 rounds. Zoloev just completely takes Todd's hand as Todd is trying to set a hook outside of the strap and gets top rolled flashed instantly.
Yeah. For some reason, he never tries to slip, or it appears he doesn't actually try to slip until he's like way in a losing position.
Right, in the 4th round.
Yeah.
The 3rd round, he looks like he changes his style a little bit. He tries to just secure his arm by letting his wrist flexion go, and trying to hold Zoloev's pronator with his bottom 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And then once his arm is drained, then drive through with his shoulder and tricep.
Yeah, which seemed to work and would have worked really well in the strap. Like, would have been amazing in the strap. And he was clearly strong enough in that position to deal with Zolev's top roll. But again, why he didn't try to get to the strap earlier, we're going to talk about this a little bit in a video later this week. But one of the things I think has to play into it is just the idea that he doesn't practice much on the table.
Right.
Like, he spends so much time training his lane in the gym that maybe
intricate little movements.
Yeah, and if someone's able to block that lane a bit, like, he gets kind of confused, or he doesn't know where else to go, or he gets put in an uncomfortable.
I would love to hear him talk about it. Yeah, because he slipped before. It's not like he's never slipped or never top rolled.
Yeah. And that was just interesting, because I think even if he had just gone to a top roll with it, he probably would have ended up getting a slip,
Yeah, and we all know it's so much easier to get into a hook if you're in the strap.
Yeah. And it's also so much easier to rely on your elbow.
Yes.
And that grip that he was using with his lower pinkies, when you don't have to hold on with the rest of your hand, when you can dig into the strap and stuff.
Yeah, and it was clear that when they went into a hook on that 5th round, Todd just had way too much.
There was nothing there for him. And we're going to analyze that a little bit, that match and the slipping a little bit more in a later video, but that was definitely one of the more disappointing matches. Sarah, super impressive, as we said, that first round, she's awesome to watch. I love, one thing I thought about after was that she talks about how she always trains with dudes, and it was like she started to fight once she started losing. Like, once she started to lose, she was like, okay, now I'm in a fight. How do I get out of this? Where it was Georgian, right? She was a Georgian girl?
Yeah, she was Georgian.
So the Georgian girl, once she started to lose, it was like, she was like, oh shit, like, what do I do now? I don't have my dominant thing that I'm supposed to have. And I think that comes from Sarah putting herself in compromising positions.
That's a good point, yeah.
And being willing to train with people that are better than her. So.
Yeah, she dug in that first round, and then she was just dominating both arms in the later rounds.
Yeah.
So
that was it. And then I guess, you know what, Tony Kotowski match, we're going to do another video kind of explaining that. That one's actually going to come out tomorrow, so we're not even going to talk about that anymore because of this video is basically over. We are going to say subscribe, hit that bell,
share,
do all those things.
Leave some feedback in the comments, and we're going to let you watch the end of this King's Move match because it's pretty epic between JW
this
and
is proper Toronto arm
Michael
here. Okay? We've got some serious amateur King's Moving happening, so enjoy it, and monkeys out.
Peace.
So what you guys John with your pinky King's moving. What do you think? I got We got another pumps, tears bicep, Mike. 2 pumps, tears bicep. Another mover in Toronto. Yes. Michael, come on.